give a shout out to Mike and Christian, who are doing a lot with recruitment for the Houston boot camp. In addition to all the other stuff that they're dealing with, state chair responsibilities and just everything going on associated with the natural disaster. So really do appreciate the additional work that those two are putting in. Definitely worthy of a shout out. I also wanted to give a shout out to Joe, who already has a chapter on the board this month, which is insane. And I also know that recruitment director played a huge role in that as well. So just managing your team well and just really getting results. And then also wanted to give a shout out to Brian Hale. So he has a pretty big announcement to make, and I'm just gonna not steal his thunder at all. So go for it, Brian.
Okay, so I think all of you knew that I took on an internship with Young Americans for Liberty through the Charles Koch Institute. So I just moved to DC the past couple days to get that started. Well, that very rapidly turned into a regional director position that I have accepted. So I'm now a regional director for Young Americans for Liberty.
Woohoo! That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about that.
So Party Central will severely miss Brian as a state chair, but huge things ahead for you, Brian. And I'm super excited to share a little cubicle section of the office with you. So that'll be really fun. For those of you who don't know, we have 3 new regional directors coming on. So we've got Brian. We've got one that hasn't been announced yet, so I'm not really at liberty to announce. And then we've got Dan Taylor, who was brought on from, I believe, the Midwest. So really cool. We got RDs that are moving up into new positions.
Yeah, quick note. I haven't gone public with that just yet. So I don't, necessarily think anyone is going to make that word, but if there is that at all, I ask that you just wait until I post and get that word out there myself. Appreciate that.
Definitely. Yeah. So that's pretty important, actually. We don't want that to, there's a bunch of contract stuff. So just, hold off on your Facebook shout outs, etc. for Brian and everything. But like I said, super excited and happy for you, Brian. Definitely deserve it. So obviously huge shout out there. So moving on to orders of, does anyone else want to give any awesome, okay, no, that was it. Does anyone else want to give any shout outs to other people or to other state chairs or chapter presidents in their state, or any other good news that people want to share? I know there's good stuff happening.
I started a chapter at a pretty liberal campus in Colorado Springs, and the guys were super scared about getting out there and doing activism events. And they are going to be doing a free speech activism event. So they've kind of come out of their shells a little bit, and they're really getting down to business. So that was pretty exciting.
Nice. Awesome. That's the most satisfying feeling, when you can get someone out of their shell and actually get them producing and leading other people. That's fantastic, Devin. Anyone else want to share? Okay. Cool. So this shouldn't last very long. There's 3 things I want to go over legitimately. So we should be able to blow right through these. First thing is activation. Sincerely want to congratulate you guys for really getting on top of that. We're definitely not where we need to be, and we need to maintain this pace going forward, but we have seen a little bit of a jump in activation. I know Joe's gotten an activation. Andrew's gotten an activation. I'm pretty sure Jess has gotten one. There's one that came out of Texas. So there's been a few that have popped up since I've said to make it a priority. And so I just really appreciate that as well. And so yeah, activation, just keep on that. There's also a lot of potential as activism events are becoming confirmed. And even reported that mobilizations can take place as soon as those activations happen. So if there's a chapter that has 2 members and only needs 1 more to become active, and they've already done an event and blogged about it, as soon as you get that third member, you get that $200 or $400 bonus, depending on if you created the chapter and if they've been mobilized before. But there's a lot of potential there, so just stay on top of the activation. It will pay off for you in bonuses, and obviously we do want to strengthen our network, so making sure that there's 3 dues paying members, oh my goodness, is always really important. So that's activation. Any questions, comments, any additional words about activation? Okay, I think we're pretty clear on that. I mostly just wanted to thank y'all for getting on top of the ball there. Oh, also I went through and did an audit of all activations, so that should be accurate as of Friday, and tracking going forward, we'll try to be much more up to date. So cool. Activism is the next thing I want to cover. So we're actually doing pretty well with activation in some areas and not so well in others. So I'll explain. We have the highest percentage right now of chapters that have applied for an activism event and committed to doing activism. So almost every single one of our chapters has made that commitment / has submitted an activism application. And again, it doesn't really matter if that first activism event is membership drive, or I know some chapters are doing some free speech stuff, and so that's okay if you want to focus on that as their first event. And I know it's probably a much easier ask for people that are in Texas to do a Choose Charity event. So I really don't care what the first event is, just make sure that there is an application in for it. And we're doing really, really well there. So just remember, whenever we get a new chapter, to immediately get them applied for an activism event and set up for that. The one area where we are severely lacking in is just really being proactive about confirming dates of activism events. So whenever chapter leaders or chapter members apply for events, it gets loaded into this doc where we can just clearly see the information at Yale National and send out kits accordingly and all of that. And the dates that we're getting for applications are just grossly off right now. And I understand, because a lot of those came in during the LTS before YALCon, and it was just a priority to get materials shipped. And so we put kind of a placeholder date there. But we're getting to the point where I'm touching base with chapters about their activism event that's supposed to happen today or tomorrow or whatever. They're like, oh no, that's planned for 2 weeks from now. And that's just information that would be helpful to know. And so I am making a place to denote that in our regional doc. So I'm gonna try to screen share with you and see if I can get this up. So in our Liberty Warriors doc, we have now a tab next to events, which will populate. I know it's a little bit finicky here. Most times it will populate here. And so you can reference whatever the application says and see recruitment date as the date that they use to apply. We're going to use this tab now as a system just to confirm first activism event dates. And so I made it very pretty with different colors and everything. Typical Brittany move. But just go over here. I organized it by state chair assigned, so you should have all of your chapters in one big chunk that's the same color. And you can see state chair assigned, state, school. And so you're just going to go over here and say, all right, what is the first event that this chapter is going to do? Most cases it'll be membership drive. In a few cases it'll be free speech or Choose Charity, or if it's a different thing, just to note it in the notes over here. And then you can say, all right, what's a date that we're going to do the event? So put that in there. And if it's a date that's already passed, then you can denote it in this next section. So the next question you want to ask is, okay, has this chapter applied for an activism event? Again, if you're unsure, you can go over to this events tab over here and double check if they've actually submitted an application. Hopefully it's yes. In most cases it will be. The next question you're going to ask is, okay, did we confirm this date? Did we confirm that the event actually happened? So obviously, if it's the 6th, that would be today. You can say, oh yeah, this chapter totally went out and did activism. And then the next thing is reported. So have they actually blogged about the event? And so maybe at this point it's a no. But just filling all of this in will be extremely helpful. And I'm going to switch over again. Oop. Okay. Just having all of this information will be helpful, especially for me as I'm going along, just so that I'm not hounding you about events that aren't even supposed to take place until like next week, for example. And I am going to have, just because I don't have that many action items, I am going to have that as a expectation to have it done by Friday. If for whatever reason you don't have time to sit down and do that by Friday, let me know. And if there are any chapters where you haven't been able to confirm a date, first of all, that's a little bit of an issue. But if that is the case, then just denote it in the notes. But please fill in something for each of your chapters, just so that we have that logged. And again, this should be information that you guys know, so it should just be a matter of going in and filling out a chart. And so it should be pretty easy, but that'll be extremely helpful for me and probably for you as you're going along, just to have like kind of a visual representation of that. Any questions about the tab or any of the language used or anything like that? Okay, again, confirmed is that the event is confirmed, not that the date is confirmed, but okay, cool. If you put a date in there, I'm just gonna assume that it's confirmed. But okay, cool. The next thing is monthly reviews. I know I'm a little bit behind on this since it's already the 6th, but I'll send out the link to my you can book me in the chat, and then just go in there afterwards and pick a time, preferably tomorrow or Friday, just to knock it out and everything. Y'all have been through this at least once before. Most of you have been through this a lot of times. So just definitely want to get those knocked out as soon as possible, and come prepared just with those dates filled in the doc, and we'll probably just go through each of your chapters for just like status updates and stuff like that. So that's just monthly reviews, just an FYI, because they didn't send out an email. And then the last thing I have for you, so yeah, this will be a super quick hangout. The last thing I have for you is just a reminder that the expectations have changed for state chairs. So you either have the option of creating and activating a chapter. So that's your one option, same as last year. Or you also have the option of having half of your network do an activism event and blog about it. So that's option number 2. But one of those two does have to be fulfilled upon, and this is something that we're not really going to give exceptions for going forward. So I know a lot of people in the past have said, you know, oh, I'm really good at building community and making sure that chapters are active and really strengthening chapters, but I'm not great at chapter creation. This will be great for you. Or those that are really great at chapter creation, but maybe are worried that they'll miss the mark a little on every single month, 50% of their network having activism events, create a chapter. So you do have a little bit more of an individualized approach there. So no excuses, obviously. We all want to meet our expectations. Look to Joe Champ and get ahead and just knock that out really soon. That would be my suggestion, because the end of the month sneaks up on you really quickly, and I don't want anyone falling behind. So that is everything that I formally have. Again, hopefully Hangouts will be this short every time, but you guys are doing really well. We're pulling really good numbers. Let me know if anyone has anyone interested in going to Houston, or especially if you know someone from Texas that's interested in going to the boot camp and everything, because we are recruiting for that actively right now. But aside from that, keep up the good work, fill in that new tab on the doc, and I'm not going to stay on after this just because I haven't even eaten dinner yet. So if you have any questions, definitely let's follow up tomorrow morning and everything, or I'll be around for anything short. So, cool. All right, guys, have a good night. Thanks for coming on and everything. Oh, Christian, what is that? You're freaking me out, dude.
No, we were trying to find a way to prank you guys. Me and my buddy Dan here. We were gonna have the dog through his jacket hole, but we were just messing with you with a little thing here.
Oh my Atlanta, that is creepy.
Puppy.
Oh, why didn't you show the dog earlier? You can get 5 extra points on, or Liberty points.
Oh, 5 points. The 5 points right here.
There we go. All right, I'm gonna go, guys.
Bye, Britt. See you next week.
Bye.
Again.